Time for Talking Pints. I am joined by Sigmundur Gunnlaugsson. I may even have pronounced that correctly. Former Prime Minister of Iceland. Delighted to have you on the programme.
Thank you.
For Talking Pints.
Nice to be here with you.
Thank you. Now, democracy, parliaments, the gorge. I've been to Iceland and I've visited this site.
Yeah.
You know, where in midsummer, as I understand it, the tribes would send representatives from all across Iceland. You claim to be the oldest recognisable, the Athling as it's called, the oldest recognisable parliament in the world.
Yes, since 930, which also makes us a quite old country, because with parliament, Iceland was established as a nation state. This was before the German tribes arrived at what they would later call Berlin. It was before the Battle of Hastings and you becoming England and Britain. So we've had a long history, and we've always had the same borders because we're an island, as you are. And we have fought for independence, lost it, and gained it again.
Who did you lose it to?
First to the Norwegians.
Yep.
And then the Danes took over Norway, and thereby Iceland as well. But even in the early 19th century, or the middle of the 19th century, Icelanders, at that time maybe 50, 60,000 people, were absolutely sure that they should be independent.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it rhymes with what I believe in.
And it worked. Independence worked if you use it.
Yes.
And that's the problem. That's what I worry about now, both regarding Iceland and the UK, is that we are not making enough use of our independence.
Now, one thing that you did keep was your fish. And I came many years ago and met the then Icelandic fisheries minister, and you have and we fought a cod war against each other.
Three cod wars,
right through sort of the early middle part of the 1970s. And you won. We lost.
Every time.
In fact, you won so comprehensively that international sea boundaries were changed from 12 to 200 miles, and you fiercely protected that 200-mile limit. Is fishing still a highly profitable industry in Iceland?
Yes, it still is, but of course the economy is much more diversified now, and we are exporting a lot of products. Amongst others, pharmaceuticals and aluminium. We are the second biggest aluminium producer in Europe, which takes a lot of energy.
Is that because of hydroelectric? Or?
Yes, exactly. That's
you need a lot of electricity to make aluminium. Yeah.
But yet we have people claiming to be environmentalists who would like to close all our aluminium production, which would mean it would move to China, where it would emit 10 times what it does in Iceland.
More emissions. No. Isn't it funny? These arguments are all really very similar in many ways to the ones that we're having. And joining the European club, joining the European Union, it was just never going to happen, was it?
Well, soon after I started politics in 2009, becoming party leader 2 weeks after I joined the party, we had a left-wing government which decided to apply for membership of the EU. It turned out to be quite difficult for them, and we managed for these 4 years to prevent that from happening. And once my government took over in 2013, we withdrew the application. And I've been hated ever since.
By the globalists, the big corporates, many of the banks. Yeah.
Also, trying to find things we have in common. We, after the financial collapse, the banking collapse in Iceland.
Which was very dramatic for you.
Extremely dramatic.
And then it was followed by a volcanic explosion.
Yes. Everything was going on.
I mean, it was biblical, wasn't it? You know, and
you could say that.
And your currency fell by, was it 80%? I think it fell by, or something like that. And
well, not quite, but it fell considerably.
Interest rates went up by 25%. I mean, it was really biblical stuff that was going on.
Yeah, it was scary at the time, and it was also scary to see how quickly this caused a lot of internal strife, rather than people all coming together as one would have expected of Icelanders, or I would have. There was a lot of internal strife in the country. But during my term in government, we took on the banks, the creditors of the fallen banks, which were huge foreign banks and particularly hedge funds. And I think it's safe to say, even though I say so myself, that we turned the economy around faster than any other country has managed to do in living memory. But still, of course, the globalists already hated me, so you can imagine what's happened in their view after that. So I've felt your pain when you've been telling...
Well, I remember, I was in the European Parliament at the time,
yeah.
and I remember Iceland being talked about. You know, poor little Iceland, hasn't got the euro, outside the European Union. And I remember saying, you know, who would you rather be right now, Ireland or Iceland? And of course, I said Iceland, they all laughed at me. But because of your independence, because your currency could float,
yes,
because you controlled your own interest rates, because you were you ran the levers of the economy, you recovered. And actually Greece has never recovered.
No, it hasn't.
Literally never recovered. So you did, all of those things went well. You upset the global establishment. Your name was released in the Panama Papers. That made life difficult continuing.
I was put on the cover of a newspaper in Germany, along with, I think, Putin and Ahmadinejad in Iran, and me. A bloke from Iceland nobody'd ever heard of, but they saw it as necessary to get rid of it.
We're both fully paid up members, Sigmundur, of absolutely the same club here, and of that there is absolutely no doubt at all. So what now for you? You're still actively involved in politics. You've been over here for the art conference this week. Mm-hmm. Where does your career go from here? Is it politics again, or is it trying to influence opinion?
I feel I have to continue doing politics, because there are so many things that could be done so much better. And we have a very unusual government in Iceland now, which aims to be a sort of an apolitical government. So we have a left-green party, we have the former conservatives, I call them former conservatives, and the Progressive Party. And they came together to form a government which wasn't supposed to be about politics, but stability. And what did that mean? It meant the establishment took complete control of the country. Without politics, the establishment rules. So there are a lot of things I would like to see change in Iceland, and huge opportunities, so I will continue in politics. And there are also huge challenges. Yeah. For example, immigration in Iceland all of a sudden is out of control.
Yeah. So you see, they're all the same problems, aren't they?
Yeah,
they want to deindustrialise you, open the borders up. Now, you said to me before we went on air that you could solve our migrant crisis, our cross-channel migrant crisis. So, right, off you go.
In my opinion, looking at it from the outside, it's simple. Because people, particularly politicians, make these things so complicated. And they make things complicated for themselves, having given away power to some establishment that always is making things more and more difficult for them. So, when a boat comes with illegal migrants, take them on land, give each of them a bottle of water, and bring them back to France. Now, this should, in the long run, suit France as well, because I don't think they want to be sort of a middle ground in this huge influx of people going to the UK.
So just take them back to France with a bottle of water.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Take them back to France. The French must receive them because they are coming from their country. They left
a safe country.
Yeah. And they left France.
Well, we better get you hooked up with the Conservative government, because they could do with somebody with a little bit of backbone.
The best solutions are often the simple ones. Yeah. So don't bother with Rwanda. Just take them back to France.
I was astonished to hear as we were going on air that all the way from Iceland you're a GBNews fan.
Yes. We have GBNews in Iceland if we have a satellite dish. And I know lots of people in Iceland that
really
prefer your news channel to much of the entertainment and news we're being offered on other channels.
No, I love it. Now, some friends of mine were in Iceland this year. They went up in June to fish for salmon and sea trout. Our population of those fish has declined. They loved it so much they went back again. I'm coming to Iceland next June. I want to come and catch some salmon and sea trout. And hey, you know, here's your pitch. Should Brits visit Iceland?
Well, definitely. Iceland is a great country, the most peaceful country in the world. The nature is amazing. But you may expect, or should expect, the weather to be similar to the UK or even worse. Apart from that...
well, we're already coming in big numbers and we'll keep coming, and it's an absolute pleasure
to
Talking Pints, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.